What's up? What's up? We are live. As you drop in, let me know where you're from. Feel free to ask a question. I want to share what's working well with me. Let's just make sure this is going well. Is the audio good? Cool. Mushroom coffee. This is surprisingly a very good product. This is a Fresh Cap Focus. I really enjoy it. I have their Unwind as well. It's not clear if there's caffeine content or the Unwind one anyway. That's a good relaxing. You could say like nootropic. This one here they've got. What do they got here? It's in little sachets, 10 calories per. See if I can get that focused. 10 calories per serving. But really enjoying this, so I'm having it like once every couple of days, really, because the thing's about to expire. So got to make sure we're getting that in. Still using testosterone from Black Forest. I've tried testosterone from some other brands as well. I'm enjoying the Black Forest the most. So this is 500 milligrams per serving. I'm using it once in the morning. And trying some different things, surprisingly. Potassium. Electrolytes, don't skip them. But something you can add on top of your potassium intake is drink some water with some sea salt first thing in the morning. Some lemon juice is good too. But this is 130 milligrams per serving. This is good. It's inexpensive, so I'm probably going to stick with it. Enjoying that. N-acetyl L-Tyrosine. I use it with L-Tyrosine pre-workout. I like that N-acetyl L-Tyrosine hits me a lot faster than L-Tyrosine does. L-Tyrosine takes a bit of time, but then it lasts longer. So if you're going to decide between one or the other, L-Tyrosine is better than N-acetyl L-Tyrosine. That being said, N-acetyl L-Tyrosine hits you a lot faster. I'm probably not going to get this again. I just happen to have it in my possession. So what's up, everyone? Hey. PH stands for Philippines. Hey, I know it's not a nootropic. Yeah, we can't have questions like that over here. What's up, Anne? Mike, would you please review my current stack? It's TRT and 4 caps of True Hope a day. Very cool. That's awesome. You're using True Hope. I thought I was the only one. I'm using 6 of their capsules. And I think your stack is lacking considering that you don't have considering that you tried so many different things. But tell me more about what you're trying to accomplish through that stack. Also, what may help me regulate my emotions while trading? Keep in mind, I get anxious easily. Ooh, good question. Hydrate a lot. I think it helps more so than people think with respect to their mood and emotions. Ashwagandha you can use to keep your emotions at bay. I would actually stay away from anything that would slightly like adjust your mood because it's hard to kind of it's hard to be observant of your emotions and your state when you're using nootropics all the time that are going to stimulate you or make you feel unlike yourself. Like L-theanine, for example, I've learned that it's very inconsistent. Sometimes I feel good, sometimes I don't feel good. So for that reason, I'm trying to avoid it because I'm just more mindful of everything. And self-awareness is going to be huge. Now, besides that, so those are ones which are going to help you a lot with stress. Paracetam is good when it comes to like thinking, focusing on accomplishing several tasks at once, being able to like have the short-term memory to be able to like learn things and execute it. And you're welcome to tell me more about that. Okay, cool. Energy, motivation, and mood. I don't think your stack is enough. Considering if you want a boost of drive, you can throw in some N-acetyl L-Tyrosine, some tyrosine, like I've talked about, some Noopep. Keep in mind when you're using TRT and other things like nootropics, they still work very well. So adaptogens you may want to consider eliminating because they can often kind of demotivate you to some extent. But this is already stuff you know. I find like True Hope. And for those of you who don't know, True Hope is one of the most popular supplements out there, specifically for mood stabilization or people who are just trying to get back to like their normal lifestyle, right? Maybe they've experienced something traumatic. It's a great supplement which has things like it has choline, it has L-glutamine, some other things which are going to help with mood. But what it does really well is it helps me sleep better, and so that's the reason why I've been using True Hope for 7 or 8 years. It's arguably the most expensive multivitamin out there. I didn't know it helps keep you sensitive to stimulants. That's awesome. L-theanine gives me a weird headache. that makes me feel almost depressed. Yes. What is with this L-theanine? L-theanine is getting no love lately. But L-theanine, for those of you who don't know, if you don't respond that well to caffeine, caffeine is going to stimulate you. What L-theanine is used for is to offset that anxiety, those nasty side effects that we experience when we use caffeine. So a lot of people like L-theanine for that reason. Can you put captions on? I don't think I can, but I believe in your, maybe in the YouTube settings it's there. Also, I'm taking, yeah, is it stronger? Interesting. Okay, cool. I don't know if stronger is the solution then, though, because the stronger supplements often come with worse side effects, like irritability. I've learned that most nootropics out there, which are going to energize you and give you a boost in motivation, will be accompanied with a little bit of irritability, like the Racetam specifically. And yeah, we can say the same thing with Nootropic. What are your thoughts on EMF? What is EMF? Remind me, or spell it out if you don't mind. Really like the Nootropic 10 milligrams 3 times a day. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you're still taking that. So I'm using my Nootropic the same way, 10 milligrams 3 times a day. Really enjoying these capsules. Can you imagine? We didn't used to have capsules like this. We had to weigh it out, which was okay. But I'm paying more attention to the expiry date these days. I have so many nootropics that I've just got to finish. Like, look at this whole basket. This is my morning stack. Not that I want it to be. Like, for example, I've had Subroxy sitting around for a really long time, and I want to do another review for Subroxy, although I have addressed it. For those of you who don't know, it's been addressed in a ADHD video that I've made before, but I can do it again. Really, it's doing what I expected it to do in terms of like you really need a high dose for it to work, and it will help with attention, focus, maybe a little bit of drive. But Subroxy is one of those nootropics I don't think it's worth getting. You guys can depend on me for the truth. What else we got here? Do I have to turn captions on? See, I'm actually using StreamYard, so I'm not on YouTube. I don't believe there is an option to turn on captions, but I will look into it for next time for you. Any thoughts on something that would help with word recall issues? Okay, word recall issues, it may be such that, and I'm curious to know from you, has it been your experience that you came off, like you're off stimulants or you were on stimulants before? Word recall issues, they often happen with people like they were maybe on Adderall or something before, on some sort of stimulant, and now they're off of it. Their thinking is slower, their recall is worse. Other reason why it may be happening is you haven't been getting enough sleep, because that seems to mess with everything. And besides that, I found a calorie deficit kind of diet. Everything's slow. Your recall isn't as good. So think about anything which is going to energize you should, as a result, help you with word recall. Like, if you look at most stimulants, for example, your word recall is going to be on point. Like the methylphenidate class of stims, Subroxy made me too socially anxious to continue using it. That's very interesting. You must be super sensitive to nootropics, because Subroxy, I barely noticed anything from it. And guys, if you haven't noticed that there's videos I have yet to release on specific nootropics, it's because they don't work. What am I going to say in the video? Doesn't work? Talk about the benefits? No, you can leave that to other YouTubers. I'm like the experiential nootropic guy. And acetylcysteine, I keep getting back to it because try the nootropic, not sure if it's working or it's doing anything. Then I come across a really fascinating study, and there continues to be more research just backing the effectiveness of N-acetylcysteine. It's just a question of what does it work for, and how may it be helping you, because people notice different benefits with this, surprisingly, right? Fallon's Fox need at least 500 milligrams of Subroxy to notice anything. Yeah, that's crazy. So that's 5 capsules of it. And this came about the nootropic scene, I think the same time as Polygala, which is pretty cool. And I don't think we have any more questions, but if you're watching this, feel free to drop a question. If you're here, make sure to drop a like. Appreciate you, and appreciate you dropping a comment there afterwards. But I can continue just talking about some nootropics that I've got over here. Lemon balm extract, been using this prior to sleeping. And I made a video about this recently. Really, I've been kind of intentionally minimizing my sleep stack because most of the things just don't work. And if anything, they're going to do more harm than good to your sleep. So now I'm for sleep quality, I'm using Tribulus terrestris, which I absolutely love. I'm using Shodan ashwagandha, and I'm using lemon balm extract. Lemon balm extract, I look at it kind of like a substitute to valerian root extract, for example, or like a calming tea. It's not the most effective of the three, but I've got the other ones. I would say in order of effectiveness, if you're going to look at nootropics for sleep, Shodan, number one, this is a form of ashwagandha. It has a higher withanolides content, meaning that it's going to be more relaxing, which is good. Yeah, really effective. 120 milligrams. There's research showing that, yeah, there's clear research showing that it helped with people in with respect to number of times they woke up in the middle of the night, and also how recharged they felt when they woke up. Tribulus terrestris, I think I'm the one who thought of using this for sleep quality, but it really does work. You can make the argument that it doesn't boost testosterone because we've yet to have any solid research that's showing it does that. It's intended to be used to boost testosterone, yet most people notice it subjectively. The research doesn't show just that. What you should feel when using Tribulus terrestris, I really like it. Slightly improved energy, increased ambition, higher libido, better bone strength, and improved sleep quality. So subjectively, you feel like it's boosting your testosterone, but the blood work is saying otherwise. And I've seen a lot of comments on my channel. People be like, I don't care what any of the research says about Tribulus terrestris. It works for me. And I happen to be one of those people. I've been using this supplement on and off for 7 or 8 years. The brand really matters. Freaking love this. This is great. Goes well with any stack. Haven't found any side effects. I would be using it every day of the year. Just sometimes I run out. So in order of importance, number 1 for sleep, Shodan. Second, Tribulus terrestris. And then third, something a little bit calming, lemon balm. I would abandon melatonin entirely unless you respond well to it and you have, like something in your schedule, perhaps where you have to wake up earlier than typically, or when you're jet lagged. That's always a good time to use it. I've been a fan for a long time. Why didn't you say so earlier? My best nootropic, very weirdly, is black seed oil before going to sleep. It makes me feel calm and able to sit for longer. I also like both pharma GABA. Cool. The black seed oil, people, I'm noticing they're often using it as a substitute to choline, and that's maybe mistakenly why I used it. But I added it to my nootropic stack. Like you can see, it's pretty easy to do. I've got so many things here, and I didn't notice anything from it. So that's interesting. GABA is another supplement some people use before bed, but I think marginal benefits. There's so many things people use before bed, which I think are, not that effective. If anything, look up the product Quality of Sleep or their sleep product, and they have like all those ingredients there. There's like 20 or 30 things, but most of the things just really don't do anything, right? Shodan, I think this is the best supplement that I found, which is like naturally occurring, somewhat safe, no side effects. I wouldn't use it during the middle of the day because it can demotivate you, like we know ashwagandha does, but it's been good. And then the other testosterone boosters like testosterone, for example, I'm using that first thing in the morning, typically pre-workout. Enjoying that. But my testosterone boosting stack looks like I'm having the 200 milligrams of Tongkat Ali again. I'm actually really enjoying it. It's so confusing. This is the thing, what I've learned about Tongkat Ali, and maybe to a lesser extent, Fedogia agrestis, because these are the two talked about supplements with respect to boosting testosterone. You really can't look at somebody else's experience and make your conclusions. You can make your conclusions after trying it, because it's highly variable between two individuals, and people are still trying to figure them out. For example, like after 6 months of Tongkat Ali, I thought I understood the supplement entirely. I don't know anything. I still don't know anything about it. Like about 2 years later. I mean, I'm understanding it, but what's so is I just introduced it back into my stack at 200 milligrams, the powder form, and it's working really well. Better strength, better libido, better sleep. I'm enjoying it, but I still stand by what I said, that it doesn't help you cognitively as much as I thought. With Tongkat Ali, some people look at it like a herbal nootropic supplement. They don't use it to boost testosterone levels. They actually use it to boost cognition and help them with stress resilience. I don't believe that to be true. I haven't found it helpful like whatsoever. You can, like your threshold for stress, if you want to improve that, I think ashwagandha, bacopa monnieri, lion's mane, those three are great. Tongkat Ali probably doesn't do anything. With Fedogia agrestis, people are only using that one for boosting testosterone. It has some interesting other reasons why, like some other reasons people may use it are clearer skin. I don't know if it's doing anything that way. I haven't noticed much when it comes to increasing my testosterone, but Tongkat Ali is definitely a good one. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Tonka, Aldi, and Fedogia aggressors. Are you enjoying it? Are you using them together like so many people do? Because since Gorilla Mind brought out that product called Sigma, they've been very popular. Ever use Kava? I have just a few times. I actually didn't like how I responded to it. I understand that it's supposed to calm you down, but it calmed me down with a little bit of accompanied anxiety, which is strange for a supplement to do that. It's supposed to help you with stress, but also makes you slightly anxious. I also experienced that when I use Panax ginseng, for example, or most forms of them. What else am I trying? I think I caught up on the comments. Okay, cool. What was your question? What are your thoughts on EMF, like Wi-Fi? I mean, sure, there's some people who just who don't use their phone altogether, but I'm somebody that I am not concerned, you can say. My phone is pretty close to me when I'm sleeping, and I think during the few periods of time when I maybe was a bit more mindful of it, it didn't make any difference whatsoever, right? But you guys know though, these like the capsules, the powder is still more effective. It's just that most people will take the capsules for the convenience, right? Oops, put the agmatine sulfate. Good product. I've been using it. I think I'm going to stick to using this every morning. I think it helps a little bit with muscle pumps and focus while I'm at the gym. So I'm enjoying this. This is 250 milligrams. I would say 6 out of 10. It's inexpensive. It's good, especially pre-workout. What do I think about NAC? Yeah, I just mentioned it. So I am still using NAC. I'm using it from Double Wood supplement. I don't think the brand matters that much where you get it from, but of course, if you're getting an adverse reaction to it, you can source your NAC from somewhere else. Some people use it for OCD. Some people use it for clearer thinking. But OCD is one of the more common ways people use it to kind of change their patterns of behavior very often. Or I think it's one of those supplements. Let's say if you happen to be like depressed, or perhaps you're dealing with like a food intolerance or something, and you're trying to figure something out, and you go through a lot of nootropics. It doesn't hurt to try some NAC, right? But I haven't noticed much from it yet. I continue to take it. I don't know why. Probably just because I have it. What else we got here? Hey, Mike. I'm a fan as well. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you. I've learned a lot. Question: are there any nootropics not appropriate for women on antidepressants? I would be mindful of anything which is a stimulant, but fortunately, with a lot of stimulants out there, like ephedrine, for example, they actually have warnings out there, like do not use along with an antidepressant. For the most part, I think just nootropics, they should be okay, but you'll not notice them working once you're on antidepressants, because antidepressants, they're so strong on your mood. Like I've been on them in the past too, and what happens is you'll typically go through a phase where it's about 3 weeks in order for you to sort of get accustomed to the antidepressant and start feeling the effects. And nootropics already, or the ones that we talk about, the nootropic supplements, they're very subtle. They're not that easy to notice, and that's going to be more like kind of in play. Now, things you can consider doing is there is some research showing that ashwagandha as well as L-theanine accompanied with an antidepressant made users need lesser of the antidepressant. That being said, I'm not recommending you doing it, but I've talked about this more in different videos. Like they're starting to introduce nootropics to studies with an antidepressant just to see if it not necessarily acted as a replacement, but seen if it had similar benefits, which is pretty cool. Some of my favorite things to boost mood are lion's mane and ashwagandha, but I think lion's mane kind of works at like a deeper level, which it may make it more beneficial to ashwagandha, because ashwagandha, it's kind of like it just improves your mood, whereas lion's mane, it just like hits you and changes your whole way of thinking. It's like it changes your perspective. Something like really bad happens, you're easily to have the right pattern of thinking for you to adjust to it, for you to like have the ability to reframe it into a positive, right? Agmatine sulfate with B1 thiamine helps with headaches. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Thoughts on Dexedrine? Not yet to try it. Would be curious to know what you know about and what intrigued you, sir. Hey, I'm having a hard time focusing and being productive, and I've tried lion's mane and ashwagandha and such, but none of them work for me. Any suggestions? You're probably not like one of the lucky people that noticed the nootropics working very well. You need some stimulants. But what I would consider doing, we haven't talked about choline much on this live stream. Choline is it's the supplement that everybody needs. So alpha GPC, that's my favorite. If you don't like alpha GPC, CDP, or you don't respond to it, CDP choline or acetylcholine is really good. Choline bitartrate, that one is, you could say it's less effective, but it's still better than nothing, because not only does it go well with any other nootropic stack, but it's a fundamental nutrient that our brain needs for all things cognition, executive function, being able to focus, being able to learn. So I've been using alpha GPC at 150 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day. And it's really been helping me with my productivity. I noticed that I'm a lot more focused, a lot more able to have distractions, and just even like sometimes having the self-awareness to know that I should take a break. You feel like all things working. And when I stop using alpha GPC, what's interesting is my word recall isn't as good, my focus isn't as good. I'm productively not able to get as much done. I think if everyone can just have more objective ways to measure whether or not they had a productive day, it'll help us to see what nootropics are working and what nootropics aren't. So when it comes to focus, you mentioned focus and being productive. Caffeine is going to help most people because it's going to boost energy. It's really going to boost your levels of motivation, which is something that we want. And productivity is, of course, going to be accompanied by that. I'm in retention for crappy internet and introverted. What does that mean? You retain customers who have bad internet? Sorry if I didn't understand, but I'm genuinely intrigued. It's temporary, but good money. What could I use for the conversational fatigue? Clear your mind. Go for a walk. Don't plug into audios. You just have to close your eyes for a little bit, and it's amazing how much it'll reset you. Because I do the exact same thing as you. Like, I make calls, track the number of conversations I make each day, and got to take breaks. And I notice when I start doing admin work and get behind a screen, I become horribly unproductive. So I don't know if it's conversational fatigue or it's an energy thing, but yeah, man, that's all you got to do. You have to structure it to a way that works for you. If it's going to be like 10 conversations, then take a break, then do that. If some people prefer going like 1 hour and then taking a 10-minute break and then just resuming. And make sure to drink water. What helps for pain? What I use for joint health is glucosamine and also fish oil. I take at least 1 teaspoon a day. I'd be mindful of my EPA and DHA intake. That's what you want to look out for when you're looking at fish oil products. Get it from a good brand, because a lot of the fish in fish oil products are from polluted water bodies, which is what you don't want. So don't go cheap on your fish oil. It really does matter. I think the brand that I get it from is called Nutricy. Nice little bottle. So they're high in the EPA, high DHA. Glucosamine, research shows it doesn't help everyone, surprisingly. And research does also show, I don't remember if men notice it working more so than women, but glucosamine, chondroitin, MSM. Some other people use, oh man, what's the product called? There's really not much when it comes to joint health, but those two are ones that I've been using for years. I'm enjoying them. True Hope proprietary blend definitely has something strongly dopaminergic in it. Maybe. It's interesting when you stop using it, and let's see if you notice some of the effects. Do you believe in anti-aging routines like Brian Johnson's blueprint? I don't know about his blueprint, but you're welcome to share with me. I've been watching your videos for a while. Thank you very much. Have you used FL modafinil? It's really good. No, and my experience and what I've seen with FL modafinil is like people seem to get on it. They really enjoy using it for a bit, and then they end up getting back to modafinil, or they just abandon the phenols altogether. So when I think it's just a trendy nootropic, but I can't see any reason why you would use it over the normal modafinil. I used modafinil yesterday, and what I'm noticing from it is it's really important you understand how you respond to modafinil, because I think it gets a bad rep for it making people unproductive, for it making people anxious. But I find that when I'm using modafinil, I have so much energy and so much drive. I don't care if I'm anxious or not. I'll still get a call. I'll still be able to make that phone call or execute that task. And you simply have more energy to do tasks that you don't want to do. The main issue with modafinil, your judgment is really impaired, and you'll lose the understanding of knowing like what's important, what's not important. And the other thing is when you're so stimulated all the time and you're in a stimulated state, something always needs to be happening, whether that's checking your phone, the computer. You seem to love devices. It's just hard to simply be bored. And one really important element for a human is having emotions and being able to daydream and take a break, which you can't do when you're on modafinil. And that makes it hard to have insights, having intuition doesn't happen. So that's why I don't recommend anyone uses modafinil or strong stimulants like that 2 days in a row. You need to be yourself a little bit. If anything, space them apart. For me, when I'm typically taking modafinil or phenylpiracetam, I'll typically use them together, like I've mentioned in the Limitless video I've made, where it's like 100 milligrams of modafinil, about 80 milligrams of phenylpiracetam, take it under the tongue. And I'll do that typically Tuesday. That's when I shoot videos. And then I'll do it Friday. That's when often I get to an office and do some work and train my realtors. It's what we do. Thoughts on royal jelly? I think that's what he meant to say. Role sounds like the watch. I believe this is the mushroom nootropic. I won't say it's bad. I've not used it enough for me to say it's bad or ineffective, but I do have the nootropic supplement, royal jelly, so I can give it a shot. I've probably used it maybe 5 to 10 times and didn't notice much from it, but not that I really expected it to. It's like these mushroom nootropics I just talked about. Fresh Cap Focus. This is a coffee. I enjoy it. Organic lion's mane. They got spearmint. They got rose hips. Monk fruit. I use a lot of the mushroom nootropics, really not knowing what they're for, but trusting that they're healthy for me. How do we judge that? I don't know. Does anybody take acetyl L-carnitine? Because this nootropic supplement was very popular in the past. I think now it's been overshadowed by better nootropics, which are more effective. But it still remains to be a pretty healthy nootropic in the grand scheme of things. L-carnitine is used to kind of transport fat to the mitochondria, fat to the bloodstream, so you can more effectively use fat for fuel and brain fuel. But the acetyl L-carnitine is the form which you'll most likely notice it helping you with your focus. Been using it once in the morning, been enjoying it. Nothing too significant, but it's not that expensive, which is cool. And I have been using boron as per many of your recommendations. I can't say I've noticed much from it. In fact, I don't think I have noticed anything from it, but I've been using it once in the morning. That's 50 milligrams. Would be curious to know about your experience with it. And make sure you get either vitamin B capsules, like we've talked about, getting it in a multivitamin, or get it in your pre-workout or some sort of spray. That's super important. L-Tyrosine, good or bad? I would say it's great. Of the users of L-Tyrosine I've observed from this channel, maybe like 20% of them don't respond well. Most people will either respond well or they won't notice much from it. But the common practice with L-Tyrosine to make sure you're getting the benefit is taking it in a fasted state, because there's a lot of tyrosine in chicken, in turkey, in beef, in proteins out there, in egg whites. However, when you take tyrosine in a fasted state, like L-Tyrosine, you notice it working, and that typically looks like having a boost of focus, boost of energy, boost of drive. I really like using L-Tyrosine. End of the day, when I would typically want a cup of coffee, don't have the coffee. The coffee is going to keep you up at night, and it's going to give you that energy crash there afterwards. L-Tyrosine, it may not give you the same boost that caffeine would, but it's kind of close when it comes to focus. Maybe not the physical energy, and at the same time, it doesn't mess up with your sleep. So with that, like most supplements which are going to energize you, they are accompanied with a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of irritability. But because L-Tyrosine makes you have more drive, you're still able to be more productive. So it's a good nootropic. 750 milligrams is a good serving. If you go anything less than that, there's a good chance you won't notice much happening. But like a typical scenario of using L-Tyrosine, let's say it's the end of the day, you want to retire from your work and eat dinner, but you know you have another half an hour or extra hour, you just got to grind it out, you're not so effective. Use some L-Tyrosine, it'll give you that energy boost, it'll be able to suppress appetite for a little bit longer, and you'll be confident to get your work done. So it's good. Did you get your hands on ND Cognance? Yes. For all of you, as per your requests, I am making more videos on these nootropics, which don't, you could say, wouldn't have the search volume that something like ashwagandha was. Because my channel, I think I've talked about a lot of the popular nootropics, and I made different style videos of them, like side effects, how to take them, different forms. Whereas now I might niche down a little bit and make some videos on things like Cognance, which I've already done. As you guys saw, I had a video on go to cola. So if there's more videos you want me to address, let me know. But what I can share with you about Cognance, because the videos, I think it's going to come out either next week or the following week. It seems like the Bacopa, which is more gonna often be used for mood, almost like in a spiritual sense, because of the claims they're making with Cognance, they're pretty wild. I've been using it now for a few weeks, if not a month. Haven't noticed anything great, and I just don't like the fact that it's so pricey for the serving size. So with Cognance, I mean, I would much rather just use the original Bacopa. I love the Synapsa. I love the Bacognize. Bacopa is a product I'm going to be using for years. I have been using it for years already. Helps with memory, clearer thinking, also mood, like your baseline mood, like I mentioned, along with ashwagandha especially, you're going to be in a better mood all day. It's really good for fighting stress. Now, with this product, doesn't seem like it has the same benefits with improving your memory or areas of cognition that I see, but yeah, I'm going to stick to Bacopa. It's because it's far less expensive and it seems to be working better. Tried CG3 yet? What is CG3? Guys, if you're going to ask me a question, we don't need acronyms here. I take Alcar with NARALA, L-theanine with caffeine, alpha-GPC, lion's mane, L-Tyrosine, and KSM-66 if I need to, all powder. Cool. So Alcar, this is interesting. I was going to mention that. Alcar meaning acetyl L-carnitine. You must be one of the OGs, because before, like racetams and a lot of the nootropics that we see talked about now, people swore by this stack of using RALA, which is R-alpha-lipoic acid, along with acetyl L-carnitine. They said it was like caffeine, helped them get so productive and helped them be limitless. Yeah, that's and that's just a perfect example of how we don't know with nootropics. And a few years from now, who knows what myths are going to be debunked, because people don't take that stack anymore. But RALA is a great supplement. I actually use it on my carb days. So days when you're ingesting more carbs than typically, you want to make sure that the carbs are actually going to be absorbed by your muscle cells rather than your fat cells. You can use something like RALA because you're going to eat something. It's actually going to stabilize your insulin levels, and it's going to help with insulin sensitivity. When insulin sensitivity is up, it means that you're more likely to actually utilize incoming calories for fuel, which is what you want. When insulin sensitivity is down, that's when you're getting diabetic and you're eating things and it's not actually being used for fuel, but it's making you slower. It's making you tired. If you know anyone who eats something and they get tired, it's a sign that they're not healthy, their insulin sensitivity is low. That's where RALA is going to help you out. I'm glad you brought up that nootropic because it's great. And just reminded me I have to get more of it. Any reason you don't, oh shoot, I think I'm next. Yeah, you're welcome. Have you read any books on nootropics? I take boron in my daily vitamins at 5 milligrams. Great question. Yeah, the books on nootropics, I have read the few Kindle, like small Kindle reads out there, but I don't think there was much. And plus I wasn't that surprised, but I do remember, I think Dave Asprey, he had some good content. Not that he had a dedicated book for nootropics, but he has a dedicated book for biohacking. And there was a little bit of information which encompassed nootropics, which is pretty cool. And I think that's what you'll find in a lot of like biohacking material, like 4 Hour Body, for example, or some of the stuff that Tim Ferriss has released. He's talked kind of like just like one paragraph per nootropic, which is good. But the best thing is really just watch my videos. I don't think I've broken down. I don't think anyone's kind of broken down nootropics as well as I have. I still go back and refer to older videos if I'm curious to know about a nootropic. Yes, but not for nootropics. But I happen to train realtors across North America, so that's what my TikTok page is about. Any reason you don't notice any supplement working anymore? I want to say, but now. Okay, I see your point. You're not saying me, you're saying you. And so the question is there any reason why people don't notice nootropics working over the stretch of time? And it's simply because you build a tolerance to them. Once you start taking something like caffeine is a very common example, you need more caffeine in order for you to feel the stimulating benefit that you initially felt with it. So that's why taking time off nootropics is so important. For me, I'm very fortunate. I haven't built a tolerance to some of my favorite nootropics out there, like L-Tyrosine. I still feel working well. Caffeine, I use it every single day because I haven't built any sort of tolerance to it. But there's a lot of nootropics out there, like Tonkat Ali being one, and this is talked about pretty commonly now, that people take it every single day, and then about a month or 2 months later, they don't notice it working anymore. So knowing that, the solution is to take a break. There's no reason why you would want to, there's no reason why you would want to continue taking specific nootropics. And where it gets tricky is understanding which nootropics that may be actually building a tolerance for you. For example, like L-Tyrosine is one nootropic supplement that some people build a tolerance to, but those same individuals don't build a tolerance to caffeine. So be mindful of it, and that's why it's a good practice. Like every nootropic, even if you're tempted to take it every single day, structure it like 2 months on, 2 weeks off, or you can make things easier for yourself. And when you're out of the nootropic supplement, then wait like a week and then order it again, right? Or take about a couple weeks break if you have 2 bottles of the product, for example, because it happens. Yeah, I figured. Internet situation, it's fiber up. Okay, cool. So it's hard to convince folks that want to go, I got news for you. Every sales job is hard, but telling yourself that it's hard subconsciously is not going to help you out. You have objections, you have competitors. Sure, there's times when things are more competitive than than other times. So what? You got to get good. Role play. I'm not particularly a fan. I'm more of a fan of nootropics that have lasted over time, tested and true. Because I take a fairly conservative approach. I want to be safe. But fortunately, I'm happy to say I've been using like a lot of these nootropics for 8 to 9 years now, almost every single day, and no negative side effects have happened. So I'm the good example for you. And we'll never know if I would have been better off without nootropics. But I have now. I now believe that, for example, like the way nootropics have really helped me is just like that 20 to 30% of extra productivity, extra drive, maybe help me a little bit with learning, and really just over the stretch of time, that obviously that compounds, right? Do you cycle ashwagandha? If so, what extract? Great question. I'm not as structured perhaps as I should be when it comes to cycling off of it, because I'm really like rotating the way I take it. But what I'm typically doing is I'm taking 3 to 500 milligrams of ashwagandha KSM 66 once in the afternoon, and then I'm using Shodan, which is the other form of ashwagandha that's higher on the withanalytes content, to relax me prior to going to bed. But I've changed that a lot. I think ashwagandha is going to be best taken twice a day, and it has it has an interesting half-life. So ideally, if you really space your ashwagandha servings apart, like no exaggeration, if you can go 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., that's the perfect way in which you should take ashwagandha. I think for most people though, they're spacing them apart like 6 or so hours, which is good. Do you think you'll ever get back on CRT? No, as long as I don't need to. I think perhaps if I had like low testosterone or something, but even now I don't notice, like I don't feel like I have lower testosterone levels. My thyroid condition is doing good, so no need to. Cool. Never tried this. CG3. Can you build a tolerance to mucunapurines? Tyrosine doesn't work for me. The question for you, Nishan, is mucunapurines even working for you? Because for most people, they don't notice it working. And if they're not noticing it working, then how would you even know if you built a tolerance to it, right? But for those of you that don't know, mucunapurines is a really popular nootropic supplement specifically for boosting dopamine levels. That's what it's intended to do. It just increases dopamine, which means you're supposed to have more focus. But L-tyrosine is often used as an alternative because L-tyrosine, it also converts to dopa, though it's not as efficient of a process. So I noticed L-tyrosine working, and most people do as well. Mucunapurines, they say to take it once during the day, and you'll notice the benefits throughout the whole day. With L-tyrosine, though, you take it once, and you should notice it working for about 90 minutes. And that's myself. My thoughts on Shilajit. People often use it for boosting testosterone levels. If you're going to get it, the dropper forms seem to be the best. Get the best response for it. I don't think it really helps so much with stress resilience. Perhaps a slight boost in energy. That's where it's good. I'm kind of indifferent about it. It's good. No negative side effects, which is cool. I'm only saying I don't know what is the it. Okay, cool. Oh, cool. Thanks for clarifying. How should I cycle Aniracetam? It takes a couple weeks to wrap up and really start working, and not sure how much to continue after that. Great question. Aniracetam being a very popular racetam specifically for thinking, learning, social anxiety, that's where it's used along with paracetam. I'm still using Aniracetam every single day. I think like 500 to 800 milligrams. I'm using that twice per day. So how I typically take time off is I'll go 2 months on, followed by 2 weeks off. And I understand that it's not ideal because it takes a couple of weeks for the Aniracetam to actually start working effectively like you would want to. But I think it just makes sense for the longevity of you wanting to use it. Because it works. I think Aniracetam is really underrated. I mean, paracetam too. They're great. You want to, like, I think a lot of the nootropics that are popular right now will help you with stress, but there's few nootropics out there that are going to help you with productivity, and the Rastams really do help me anyway with productivity. Cool. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, interesting. Yeah, you may have taken Tonkat Ali and gotten anhedonia because you took it with you took it fasted. I took it like, I typically ingest my Tonkat Ali 15 minutes before a meal, and then I feel really good following the meal. But if I were to like take Tonkat Ali, wait half an hour in a fasted state, not fed, I would feel awful, and you would feel like that too. So I'd be curious to know about your situation there. Not tried that. Sounds interesting. Berberine is used kind of in the same way that I mentioned with RALA. With RALA, what it does is it increases insulin sensitivity, which is naturally going to give you more energy as you're eating. What's going to happen is you're going to feel better. You're going to feel like you're more healthy, more energetic, more willing to do things, less anxious, which is good. Do I think it's that effective? Probably not. It's okay. But I haven't noticed any bad side effects with it, which is cool. Just watch out with stuff like Berberine. Watch out for RALA, taking it in a fasted state, because man, you're like, your blood sugar drops. You'll get fatigued. You might want to, some people might even pass out. So these supplements are intended to be used with a meal. You can use alpha lipoic acid if you want something lighter instead of RALA, but RALA is like the real potent stuff. What's the best natural nootropic closest to Adderall? There isn't one. I've actually talked about this in the video I made called 6 nootropic or 6 nootropics similar to Adderall. And you should watch that video. But what I had mentioned was that no one supplement is going to replace how Adderall feels, but you can kind of get that feeling short term, because Adderall just works the whole day. Whereas most nootropics that are really effective, they're going to work for a shorter amount of time. Even you take like Quality of Mind, which is a great nootropic supplement blend, and they have all these ingredients there: caffeine, L-Tyrosine, they've got choline, they've got mecanopherians. It works really well, but if you take it in the beginning of the day, you're not going to feel like that Adderall-like productivity and focus at the end of the day. So maybe it's something like taking Quality of Mind twice during the day, once in the morning, then once in the late afternoon. But the closest that so my point being is that take nootropics more than once a day, and you'll get closer to feeling how Adderall feels like. But for me, what I'm using to feel more stimulated and more energized is the stack that I discussed in my Limitless video, which is like modafinil, phenylprostam, like I mentioned earlier, taking my alpha GPC at a big serving in the morning. I'm using alpha GPC, and I'm using some adaptogens in the early afternoon and late afternoon, like rhodiola rosea, 500 milligrams, Bacopa mineri, 500 milligrams, and ashwagandha, 500 milligrams. And then the racetams, if you have them, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Make sure you hydrate a lot, and make sure you get in your electrolytes, because when you're using stimulants, like, you got to be hydrated. And for most people, they're not getting the right, the right volume of electrolytes. They're not, and they're thus feeling fatigued. Water-rich foods are often more effective than just drinking water. Have a salad. What's your current stack every day? It's the whole thing is detailed in my Patreon page, so make sure to visit that. But of the nootropics that I talked about on this live stream, most of them are there. Besides them, I haven't talked about oxiracetam. I'm using oxiracetam typically, and then of course caffeine 300 to 400 milligrams per day is really good for me. Do you like Gorilla Mind Smooth? I've seen the product. I think it's very good for the cost, actually. Probably one of the most cost-effective supplements out there. Of course, it could have other nootropics there, but there's only so much they can have, because I think where Gorilla products really shine is the price. Like, they're really well priced. That being said, they can't get everything in there, right? Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yes, in Canada, I think most people here, I would say 99% of people are vaccinated. Thoughts on gym goers supplementing? Kiala's cool. Interesting. I'm gonna look this up, because I don't know much about that. Did you count your daily supplements? How many do you take per day? I would guess like 30 to 40. And when you look at capsules, maybe like 80 to 90. So the morning supplements that I'll typically take are going to be capsules, and then afternoon, evening, I think most of them are in powders. But now, because I've got all these nootropics like sage, turmeric, I think I have black seed oil. I've got a lot of stuff that I'm trying pre-bed right now in capsule form. So don't compare yourself to me. But the way that I first started with nootropics was I would use one, and then I would just simply add something else on top of it. I never was the person to like take time off of a nootropic supplement and then introduce something new into my stack to see if that's working. I think you can notice something working. Let's say if you have a stack and it's working really well, you can add something to the stack and you should be able to notice if you're sensitive to nootropics, if it's doing anything. And then over the stretch of time, obviously you get to know what's working or not. 1, 2. Okay, I think you guys are talking to each. So what the gray area is when it comes to, that is definitely a hidden comment. But I see what you're saying. I've actually addressed that in a video too, which is a good sign that it's time to end this live stream. There's over 400 videos on the channel, but of course I'm here for you. So if you have a question, you're most likely going to get a quick answer if you message me on Patreon. I answer every day, or you can if you can leave a comment on one of my YouTube videos. I check for comments on Tuesdays and Fridays. Hope you all did enjoy this live stream. Make sure you drop a like, drop a comment afterwards if you did enjoy it. And if you're not watching this live stream, I hope to catch you on the next one. I really do. I appreciate you guys. We'll talk.